Minnesota is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, the simple truth is America has no business involving itself in this Saudi-led civil war in Yemen. That's why I introduced my amendment, which passed the House just last July, declaring that none of the funds in the National Defense Authorization Act will be used to deploy ground troops in Yemen. But the fact is the United States is still financially supporting this Saudi-led war, and that's simply wrong for 3 primary reasons. First off, America's support for this Saudi-led war in Yemen is unauthorized. Congress never approved a declaration of war in Yemen. Nothing could be more clear in the Constitution of the United States as to who has responsibility for declaring wars. It's not the President, it's the Congress of the United States of America. But right now, we are still financially supporting a Saudi air war and a blockade in Yemen, both acts of war. It's time to put a stop to that. Second, we're supporting this Saudi-led blockade that's causing a horrific starvation, disease, and death in Yemen. This blockade has forced more than 7 million people in Yemen to the brink of starvation. It has sparked the world's largest cholera crises in recorded history, and more than 8,000 people in Yemen have been killed and nearly 50,000 injured in airstrikes and fighting on the ground. It is unconscionable for us to continue support for this war. And finally, I can't say enough. America is already involved in too many endless wars of choice in the Middle East. The President of the United States acknowledged that we have spent $6 trillion just on the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. $6 trillion. And they have acknowledged that we have $2 trillion in expenses going forward taking care of the heroes that served our nation, lost arms and legs and irreparable damage. That's $8 trillion. Think about it. For one of those trillion, just one of them, we could have eliminated student debt in America. Think about it. For another one of those trillion, there's our trillion for our infrastructure. Think about it. For another one of those trillion, we could have found a cure for cancer or diabetes or Alzheimer's or any one of a number of things. These wars of endless wars of choice where we have inadvertently been on virtually every side of the conflicts one way or another, one time or another, are so costly in blood and treasury. It's time to put a stop to spending these trillions on these wars and start reinvesting in America, reinvesting in the American people. Mr. Speaker, bottom line, Congress must stand up and bring an end to the American involvement in these costly wars and now in Yemen, where we have no authorization and we have no business being involved. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.